So how's everybody? The class today is going to be on what does a grant proposal really look like? This class is a follow-up to actually ongoing training and how to write a grant. This part of the grant session allows us to see how do you put all those pieces together to write an actual grant, goals, objective, statement of the problem, etc. This particular grant was written by an organization called Kids with a Call. The organization is a youth-focused organization. Joyce Carpenter is the person that oversees this organization. She was so elated when she got her first grant. So this is her first grant. It was for $5,000. It was to the Children's Board. The Children's Board is an organization, and they are an organization that funds community, they're what you call a community development organization. They fund organizations that are providing some type of service to children. Now, let me ask you a question, one quick question. I got a class coming up tonight at 6:30 on grant writing and nonprofit type of stuff. Are you free?
Tonight at 6:30?
Yeah, 6:30. If not, you know I give these classes all the time.
Yes. I think I am. Yes, sir.
Good, good. Man, I got people coming from just about every state. I know I got at least 20 states that have signed up. New York,
Wow.
Philly, all over the place. But anyway, I'm going to shoot me an email to give you the link to that class. I think that you're going to enjoy that class. And not only that, it's an opportunity to network. People in New York, Philly, all at the same time. Because
that's what I want to do.
Texas, they come from all over the country. Because when I give my workshops, I got people coming now, not only the country, but out of state. England, the Netherlands, Jamaica, Haiti, Kenya, East Africa, and I can go on and on and on. But anyway, I diverted from what this class is supposed to be about. So
that's good for my marketing.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said that'd be good for marketing with my film school.
Yes, exactly. You see it, right? Exactly. So anyway, here we go. This was the grant that was written. Okay. It started out by, like you said, giving the organizational name, the preliminary, the address and everything.
Here's a reminder.
It gives the information like, for example, the CEO, that address, that information. Contact person, you always want to have a contact person. Now, it's right here should have been the total amount of the physical budget. Well, that's going to be later on. So this is what we call the cover sheet.
Okay.
The first grant part of the grant in this particular grant is called the concept paper. The concept paper is the same as the strategy that we talk about in class. Okay. We talk about strategic planning and everything. Now, there are different parts of the concept paper. The first part is called the project summary. This is where you summarize your project. Now, let's notice how her first paragraph really talks about everything she wants to do. So read her first paragraph for me.
Kids with a Call Incorporated is requesting $5,000 for the purpose of purchasing musical instruments, string instruments, to have enhance its summer program by creating a musical program. The program provides participants between the age of 5 to 15 with a music-based program to develop character, a sense of community, enrich their communications and learning skills, introduce them to foreign languages, and improve positive behaviors. As stated by the Children's Board, we support the success of all children and families in Hillsborough County.
What's important about this? This paragraph right here leads to all this rest of this stuff. If this, know how I highlight this paragraph? If your summary don't convince them, they're not going to read the rest of it. That's
Gotcha.
why that first sentence, that first paragraph is your lead statement. It tells them how much you want, $55,000. What do you want to do it for? A summer program. Who's going to be affected? Young people between the ages of 5 to 15. What are they going to learn? Music skills, foreign language, etc., etc. And notice that last sentence say, plus, we support your vision.
Ah.
So whenever you write a grant, that last sentence can say, plus, we support your vision. In this particular case, they say we support the success of all children and family in Hillsborough County. So whenever you write a grant, find out what is the mission of that grantor. So you can say, hey, by the way, we also support your vision.
Gotcha.
So far, so good?
So far, so good.
In the next sentence, you're going to start to sell your organization. Read the second sentence for me.
Kids with a Call Incorporated, KWAC, a 501c3 nonprofit, was created in 2009 to fill a critical need that addressed what to do with school-aged children after school and during the summer. The purpose was not only to provide a safe haven, but it was established to also provide an environment of learning to meet the educational something is got your saved to this PC. I think you
Okay.
yeah. Educational needs of each child.
So you see how she nailed it?
Yes.
Yeah, see how she nailed it? She talked about, hey, who we are. What do? We meet critical needs. So
Wow.
you got to sell, every paragraph is going to sell you. Next paragraph.
Love that. I love it. Our vision, children of youth of diverse ethnicity will work in harmony while expressing their talents throughout communities and the world. Our mission, to build strong character skills in children and youth so they exert benevolence, ethics, self-worth, and trustworthiness their best.
She's nailing it. She's nailing it. And this one, see how she talk about her vision and her mission. Next paragraph.
One line thing, yeah. KWAC will promote and recognize the diversities and diverse learning styles of children and promote lessons that focus on the 8 intelligences of learners.
She did her homework. She did her research. And her research showed her that there are 8 intelligent focuses that organizations should focus on. Next.
Since 2010 to present, almost 300 students have attended Kids with a Call summer camp, and about 20 high school students have volunteered to satisfy the Bright Future Scholarship Program. To add to the list of volunteers, Kids with a Call has engaged 30 volunteers each summer for a total of 180 volunteers total in 6 years.
Now she give her track record. What has she been doing for the last 6 years? So she give her track record right here. Sometimes you might not have been around for 6 years, but it's all about presenting it. Like even for the period of time we've been here, we've had an impact. Okay,
Yeah.
in your case, you would talk about how you've been able to connect to resources for the kids in the community, the different locations that you're at, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Next.
We are requiring funding for musical program that will be an add on to our summer program and will increase our effectiveness to serve our clients and our organizational stability.
This is called a budget justification. Why do you need the funds? Okay, she talk about it. Well, these funds are going to be able to allow us to communicate and introduce. Wait a minute, I missed where I was at. Oh yeah, here, I jumped all the way down here. She said, we are requiring these funds for musical programs that will add on to our program. You know, she showed that this is what we're doing, but this is what we can do if we got money from you. We got something over here, but we need something else to get us to where we need to go at. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, let's continue on.
The program provides participants with a music-based program to develop character, a sense.
Hello? Hello?
Will benefit with 20 to 30 kids benefiting from our first year.
Okay. Now,
wow.
This is where you project when you talk about this is where in the grant proposal that you begin to talk about how many is going to benefit from what you're doing. Now, what's the total number of people? See how she framed it?
Yes, sir.
This what was, yeah. No, here.
Hundreds of children will benefit with 20 to 30 kids benefiting from our first year.
Yeah. The numbers, 20 to 30 kids. Some people put in 160, 800. Funders are not impressed with that. Funders are looking at realistic numbers. You ask them for $5,000 and you're going to help how many? 200, 300? It's not realistic. So see how she was realistic. She said, with that 5,000, we can help 20 to 30 kids. They love that. Sometimes when you write a grant, you want to try to impress the people by giving these large numbers. And the funders know better than that based on the amount of money that you're asking for.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, and she's going to break it down even more. Next sentence.
The purpose of this request is to purchase string instruments in various violins, violas, cellos, snare drums, bass drums, cymbals, tambourines, triangle, stands, and bends for our musical.
Mama, I asked you to do a budget justification earlier. Now
Yes,
you
sir.
see why. This is where you're going to put what the money request for is going to be used for.
Gotcha.
You see, everything we did in class, you're going to see it makes sense when we look at the real grant. Okay, this is going to be important. Read the next sentence.
There will be 2 30-minute lessons, 4 days a week for 7 weeks.
You got to break it down to, if you're going to do a workshop, you got to break it down how many minutes, how many hours, how many hours or minutes, how many days, and how many weeks or months. That's where you put that.
Gotcha.
Remember we talked about SMART, and one of the things we talked about SMART, we talked about time.
Time frame.
What's the timetable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue on. Next.
After 28 hours of practice on an instrument, students will be able to play at least 2 musical pieces and perform before an audience.
Now, this is where you got to talk about what's going to happen after you provide all that training. Well, the student will be able to break down a camera, build it back up again, or whatever. This is where you begin to talk about those skill sets that that person's going to get from your class. Mm-hmm. See how she articulated, she broke it down. She's breaking it down step by step by step. Okay, next one.
Studies have shown See attached sources. That programs like this promote higher SAT scores, reduce juvenile crime, and produce problem solvers.
And this is where you want to have. Studies have shown that using the arts to build character and reduce crime, A, B, C, and D, just like you did. And what kind of research is that?
That is called quantitative research.
Right, right. Okay, let's move on. Next.
The instruments will be stored in a locked music room at the site. The building has 9 classrooms, several conference rooms, and offices.
See how you have to break this down. Where are the equipment going to be stored at? To make sure that no one is getting to that equipment.
Gotcha, man.
Also, you're going to add in here, when you talk about the equipment, you're going to put in there, and the equipment is going to be insured.
And insured.
Just in case, you know. Okay, next.
Okay. Insured.
I have to step away 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, had to get me some water.
I know that. I know how that is.
All right, where did we leave off at?
Let's move offices. A study.
Yeah, now here's another study that she did. First, she made one observation here when she talked about studies have shown. Now she's going to quote another study to support that music. Now, her argument is that music can change the narrative. Just like your argument is that art, video, and imagery can change the narrative. Her argument is that music can change the narrative. And now let's talk about where her quantitative data is that supports that. Read this next one.
A study published in 2007 by Christopher Johnson, professor of music education and music therapy at the University of Kansas, revealed that students in elementary schools with superior music education programs scored around 22% higher in English and 20% higher in math scores on standardized tests compared to schools with low quality music programs, regardless of socioeconomic disparities among the school or schools districts. Johnson compares the concentration that music training requires to the focus needed to perform well on a standardized test.
Okay, now again, see how she's supporting the argument that it's not me saying music is good, okay? But others are too. All right, read the next one.
10-year study shows music improves test scores.
Again, next.
Wow, regardless of socioeconomic background.
Read that again.
Regardless of socioeconomic background, music making students get higher marks in standardized tests. UCLA professor Dr. James Catterall led an analyst of the US Department of Education database called NEAL S88. The database was used to track more than 25,000 students over the period of 10 years. The study showed that students involved in music generally tested higher than those who had no music involvement. The test scores studied were not only standardized tests such as SAT, but also in reading proficiency exams. The study also noted that the musicians scored higher, no matter what socioeconomic group was being studied. Source, Dr. James Catterall, UCLA, 1997.
Now you see why she got this grant. Now you see why she did her homework.
Did her homework.
She took the class just like you. When she first came to class, she didn't have a clue. After finishing the class, look at the quality of work she's thrown out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this class is all about, the end product of writing the grant.
Yes, sir.
That's what this is all about, the end product. I didn't want to start with the end product because it wouldn't have made sense. You would have seen it, but it really wouldn't have made sense. But once you had the class and we go back, now everything makes sense. It becomes logical.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue on. Now, the next part is when you begin to talk about your staff. Go ahead.
Okay. Just get a picture of everything, man. Oh my God, I need all this.
Oh, I'm sending you this right here. I'm recording it also.
Oh, okay. Organization senior staff listed by name and title.
And this is, you don't have to read all this. This is showing that person's title and their background.
Okay, okay.
Now the next one, read that.
Ms. Carpenter, who will.
No, this one here.
Internal capacity to complete administrative functions of proposed project.
Now this section is important because this one you begin to talk about why is she, even though she got all these credentials, why is she able to run this program? And this is where she give her background. And this is where you give your background. Well, every grant says it differently, but this particular grant is called internal capacity to complete administrative function of the proposed project. In other words, they're saying, do you know how to do it? You know, can you run this particular program? Do you have a background? Have you ever done this before? Or can you get somebody to do it? But in your case, you can say, yeah, I have. Just like her. She's a teacher. So she said, look, man, I'm a retired teacher. I've done this most of my life.
Wow.
You know, and her attitude was when she met me, she said, Mike, I'm so tired of the current educational system and my hands are tired. I want to create a nonprofit that thinks out of the box so I can really impact kids in my neighborhood. And bam.
How long she been with you?
This is one of my clients that's been with me for over, I first met her, and I think this grant was written in 2016, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 2016. But I'll tell you, she learned so much. If you see her now, you wouldn't know. You see her now, you say, wow, did you go to college or something? And she said, no, Mike Randolph, right? You know, because I tell people I'm gonna army of people that's gonna be thinking differently. These people are gonna be go-getters. They're gonna know how to get it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I diverted again. Let's continue on. And then you're gonna talk about the role of the organization staff or volunteers. In your case, some of the things you wanna think about later on, it's a partnership with USF, the partnership with UT, where so you get volunteer students to come in, college students, the interns, they have to do their community service. In this section, this way you would put down staff, volunteer staff, you would say, we're partnering with Hillsborough County or we're partnering with US, if you need to say that, right? To bring in possible volunteers to help run the organization.
Gotcha.
Okay, here's another thing that's important in this part of the grant. This part of the section of the grant, I'm going to send you the grant itself, as well as the grant respond to the grant. What you're looking at now is the response to the grant. I'm going to send you also the grant proposal, so you can compare the two.
Okay.
Anyway, in this section, they asked the question, what experience do you have in the strategic alliance area selected? every time you go for a grant, they're gonna say, here are the strategic areas that we want to fund. You have to then respond it by telling them which strategic area you're gonna respond to. So read the first paragraph.
As a
For example,
certified,
they had like 10 different strategic alliance that you have to choose from. You had to have at least one, but she chose this one.
gotcha. As a certified school teacher with over 30 years of experience, Mrs. Jocelyn Carpenter has worked with kids throughout Hillsborough County, including the area in which she will operate the program. She has a relationship with the parents in the area as well as the neighborhood groups and other services in the community.
Talk about your community ties as well. Whatever community
Okay.
tie you have, make sure you talk about that because now you're selling yourself. Next.
To financially manage our organization's finances, we have hired Mr. Howard McKnight, CPA, on a need-to-use basis.
Now, when she was initially coming on board with me, she wanted to hire this guy 24/7. And I said, no, you bring them on as they need to be because you don't make that much money, right?
Mhm.
So you want to bring them on just to show that you got that financial expertise, but at the same time, you don't want to pay ridiculous money. So he might come on board, this is your budgets, and that's it, right? But as you grow and you bring in more money, then yeah, you have to have a full-time CPA that's working with, not full-time, but someone that's committed to you.
Gotcha.
Next.
The proposal project will increase our capacity to serve students by providing us with the tools needed to better serve our clients and increase our longevity, effectiveness, and our efficiency. As a result, our organization capacity will be enhanced.
Good. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was going to say implementation plan and timeline.
What is another word for implementation plan?
That's strategies or
The
attack.
strategic plan, work plan, method plan. Remember we talked about the method section, we talked about the work plan. Now
Yeah.
it's the real deal, how it looks when you put it in the proposal. So read that implementation plan and timeline.
Process objectives.
Remember we talked about objectives? Go ahead.
Yes, enhance organization capacity to provide tools to serve its clients and enhance its sustainability. Activities, purchase music instruments and material. Responsible parties, executive director. Expected outcomes. Organizational effectiveness to serve our clients will be enhanced. Indicator measurements. We will have the tools needed to develop character and a sense of community, enrich their communication and learning skills, introduce them to foreign languages, and improve positive behaviors. Data source, purchase receipts, time of measurement within 4 months of receiving the grant, all items will be purchased.
Notice how she breaks it down to the T.
Wow.
So now all the stuff that we've been learning, now you're seeing how it's really come together.
Man.
And this is what the real grant look like. But guess what? Unfortunately, we're not even going to be able to get to the other two grants. So we're going to have to do that on future class.
Gotcha.
And when I say this is the basic grant, so if this is the basic grant, when you look at the other two grants, these are grants that's going for like, I think $200,000 here, another $300,000 there. But this is what a basic grant looks like, and this is what your first grant should look like. Okay, let's continue on and see what else they have in here. Okay, now we're not going to talk about it today, but then when we finish looking at all of the grants, the next section we're going to talk about is what does a budget look like and what does a budget narrative look like? We're going to start looking at real budgets.
Gotcha.
You can begin to see, hey, this is how the budget look. And these are the different items on how the budget look. The whole idea is that you should be able to prepare a budget of 500 as well as a budget as $500 million by understanding the basis of putting together a budget. Any
Gotcha.
takeaways? 2 things that you learned from the day's class.
Oh my God, man. This
I know you was not expecting this, right?
no.
But you've been waiting for it.
Yes, sir. This grant proposal stuff, man, how she articulates stuff and just, I mean, puts it all down, just like you said, like the mission and the vision, all that stuff, like one lines and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But it went
yes.
right to the point.
Yes, 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 yes. I want you to look at this and look at yours to split the first one you did and compare the two. So then you can reduce everything. But now you don't do it yet because we got 2 more grant proposals that we have to go through next week.
I got you. I got you.
Good.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Excellent. This is what a real grant actually looks like. Once you come out the classroom and you go to actually doing it, this is what it looks like. But it makes sense now because you've been through the class.
Yes.
So you understand when they say goal, objective, strategy. You understand all that stuff. You understand when they say quantitative and qualitative research. You understand how to quote sources to show that, look, this is not me saying it. This is what the experts are saying, how I can impact people. She used universities, for example. You know, USF, I mean, UCL is a well-known university.
Yes, Lord.
You see what I'm saying? I use John Hopkins because they're the best in the country, right? But anyway, when I use my sources, I make sure that they show them that it's not what I'm saying. It's what the experts are saying.
Okay.
Okay, so before we end class today, anything? You're good to go on everything.
I'm good to go. As soon as I'm going to check the mail at my PO box and that kind of stuff, and the paperwork comes, and whenever the paperwork comes, I will give you a shout out.
Excellent.
And tonight 6:30.
Oh yeah, God, man, make sure please email me to remind me, right? Because I forgot already. Man,
yeah, I want to be at that because we're trying to market the film school right now.
Good, man. Here's you want to meet people from around the country, man.
That's what I want to do.
Okay, I'll see you 6:30. Make sure you email me.
I will do it.
All right, talk to you later.